yeah. So she heard that we're having this IG live as late as we're having it. So Mama Rose, without further ado, let me just
Mhm.
quickly introduce you to the people online. And more than anything, the reason why we're doing this now is because obviously the time constraints in terms of our global counterparts where Women's Golf Day is concerned, and also, time constraints on our side, that this is the only time that we could get to do this together, at the same time that
Mm,
we are available. So I just want to quickly
mm,
introduce you everyone that is online right now with us and who's probably going to see this whenever they see it, maybe in the morning, during the day, or as the celebrations go on the 2nd of June, which is in the next few minutes. Rosemary is the Deputy High Commissioner of Tanzania by profession, a woman of many hats. She's been literally all over the continent and some parts of the world as a woman in leadership. And we've had the pleasure and honor of having her join Southern African Women in Leadership, which is SAWIL, late last year as an advisory board member. And what actually brought us together, which is what I always tell all the women at SAWIL, that guys, golf connects people. So some gentlemen who knew me and knew that I'm extremely passionate about golf and that I play golf and that I love women who play golf and that I encourage women to play golf and use it for their development and for connecting and advancing their careers, met with Mama Rose and thought that the two of us, if we connect, we might create magic. And boy, was he not wrong. But yeah, he wasn't wrong at all, because in that short period of time, we have, really created magnificent things. We've gelled on levels that, no other sport could have ever put together. I don't think even if we met at church, we would have gelled the same way. So our love for golf brought us together, and the things that we've started creating from immediately our very first initial meeting up until today, you guys will probably witness for a lifetime to come. So I couldn't have chosen a better person to represent the SAWIL Women in Leadership Golf in terms of this magnificent day that we're celebrating to tomorrow, which is the International Women's Golf Day, where we as SAWIL Golf would have been, or are, it's just that now it has to be digital because of COVID-19, are the uh, Africa host of the global event. So then the event will be moved to the 1st of September later in the year, where we can have the actual event, at a golf course. But for now, we're celebrating digitally. And I have the pleasure of calling my mom, my sister, my friend, my bestie in no time, Mama Rose, to join me, who's also a golfer. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, say Patty. I call her my supernatural, my big baby girl. And it's a pleasure for me to be here with you tonight, talking about golf. After a long day of work, coordinating issues of SADC, issues of bilateral between South Africa and Tanzania, with the governments in SADC and so on, being on a golf course is really, 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 really revealing and relieving, and it's actually, it gives you a pleasure of seeing who you are, contemplating, you're exercising, you're meeting new people, you're having drinks, you are mingling, and the best part of it, for people of us who love fashion, there's fashion. in golf.
Yay! Look at that.
There's so much
I'm so
fashion in golf.
excited.
Yeah, there's so much fashion in golf,
Yes,
which aspired me to join golf.
yeah.
Uh, I used to like golf, but I never had the time in Tanzania to actually uh,
Mm.
go into a golf field. And there are golf fields in Tanzania. There's the Gymkhana in Dar es Salaam. There's the Kawe one, which is owned by the military but open to the public. In Arusha, where there's very nice weather and beautiful golf courses, in Moshi, and different areas of Tanzania. And also recently, while I was here last year, Zanzibar, the Sea Cliff Hotel, started a golf course. So women, when we finish Corona, we have to go to
Yeah.
Zanzibar.
And I can feel myself getting into it. And also exercise. I don't really like exercising, but now I've started exercising because because we've
Hmm.
taken it for granted for so long. So now I have a very great sense and desire to get on the golf course and actually walk and smell the fresh, green grass and the trees and embrace nature for what it is. That's what the pandemic has done for me as a golfer. And
Hmm.
I think it's something that I'll probably continue doing. I used to really genuinely judge people who walk on the golf course when we have carts. But now I think I'd rather give my money, the money that I used to hire the carts, to the caddy, double the caddy's income in
Hmm.
that way. Rather, we just walk because they don't mind carrying the bags. What do you prefer? Do you prefer a cart or a caddy or both?
I prefer walking with a caddy because those caddies, they've taught me so much in golf. And
Mhm.
you like running. I don't like running. So one of the
I
things
know it's a new thing.
where I love golf is actually it's not a game which involves running. When
Mm,
I used to be a kid, I used to fall down so many times. So I was not good at that. And so golf has been so much, and I love walking. You run, I walk 10 kilometers every
yeah, no.
Saturday. If I don't go for golf, I'll make sure that I have to work at least 10 kilometers. I've got a challenge in Tanzania with ladies in Tanzania where we check what we eat, we check how much exercise you've done. You have to send what kind of exercise, how many fat have you burned, and so on. So we've got this challenge which has helped me so much
Yeah.
to maintain at my age. So I work. I enjoy golf because there's so much exercise in it, which is mentally, physically, spiritually. There's growth. There's inner peace, and then there's also business growth
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think let's play a little game quickly before we wrap this up because it is pretty late. But and
Mm-hmm.
I'm as tired. I can imagine how much more tired you are. So first of all, what is your go-to fashion for I don't want to say I don't know about winter. I don't like winter golf at all because uh, the layering. So what is your go-to fashion statement for a day on the golf course?
Actually, I haven't told you about this. Do you know that I design
Yes, I
my
know
own
that you do.
clothes? So, yeah, so my dream at the moment is to design an African wear
Uh,
for golf. Maybe have a golf t-shirt with African prints at the collar,
mhm,
you know,
mhm,
and
mhm.
nice khaki pants, but with straps, matching stripes of the collar, which is African wear.
Ooh, I like it already. I
And
like it
then,
already. Thumbs up
yeah,
for me.
yeah, and then just label it African Rose. Yeah.
I see.
Yes, so that's my dream in terms of fashion. And then on the hat also, not have the normal, even if it's a normal kind of golf cap, but it should have an African strap.
Like even if it's like this one, right? You see this
Yeah,
one. For me, if I have like
a
a
cowboy, a
brand
strap.
or
Yeah.
even oh yeah, look at the, for example, like this one.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
But that is an African attire. Yeah, an African attire. Yeah,
yeah.
so have those fancy and that's for the winter and should be long sleeves and that's for the winter. But for summer, have like culottes like those little skirts but in pants in
Oh,
African
this
print.
one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the Scots. Yeah, the Scots in prints, in African prints, and because it's going to be kind sunny,
Yeah.
so I always recommend that people should wear long sleeves because you get burnt.
Because of the band. So these are the
Yeah,
kind of sleeves that you, so as you can see,
yeah.
both for summer and winter or any other time of the year, these are the sleeves. These ones I got from E2 Golf Wear. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there we go. So these
Mm-hmm.
ones are E2 Golf Wear and a dynamic um, black woman in South Africa who, designs and actually manufactures golf clothes for both men and women. And she's got some really incredibly amazing items. And I have a couple that I genuinely just like, because prior to this, you are forced to buy whatever it is available at the mainstream stores, but
Mm-hmm.
she does some unique things. Even this one with the floral design and all of that, that's her. So she does have some unique and very interesting items that one could easily pick from. Stuff to go for, but there is a market, definitely, for especially for the ladies. You and I, our advantage, I think, is also that we're not looking at just South Africa. We're looking at the entire continent, and just from the
Mm-hmm.
South members alone, I mean, as you would know, that we're constantly getting those kind of questions like, so I've joined as a member, I don't even have a shoelace to start this
Mm-hmm.
golf thing, so where do I
Mm-hmm.
go? And so it doesn't hurt to actually start something that they can be proud of, that looks like us, that we enjoy, that resembles our continent. So I like the idea of hats like this, actually, having like a little round ribbon that with the African material, or the sleeves, or whatever it is that we're, even the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy that makes sneakers here in South Africa. I think they're called Batu. If that guy could start making golf shoes for our community, our large
Mm-hmm.
community, entrepreneurial and women leaders in across the continent, imagine what would that do versus us, focusing simply on mainstream. So yes, it's another
Mm-hmm.
ecosystem that's available. It's not only just something that we can do for fun and enjoy as women, but because you know how we are as women, we're always looking for opportunities. So we could possibly also, find some form of business or create
Mm-hmm.
business out of it. So I like that idea. I really like that idea. Um, we spoke about your go-to fashion for golf.
Mm-hmm.
I see you also have your golf bag behind you.
Yeah.
What is so when I don't know, what is your favorite golf course in the continent? Is that even a fair question to ask, considering that you have a responsibility with so many countries?
Uh, it's the one which I'm going to build in Tanzania.
I knew you were going to give me a diplomatic answer.
Yeah, it's the one which I'm going to build in Tanzania. But the one I like very much best is the one in Arusha in Tanzania. Yeah, because first of all, the weather is nice, and it has hosted a lot of East African games, and they're nice hotels, and that city has brides, be it winter, be it summer. Eat our meat with our nyama choma, which is brides, called nyama choma in East Africa. We eat it with roasted plantain and a salad called kachumbari, which is made of tomatoes, onions, lemon, salt, and then you can put chilies on the side. If people don't eat chilies, you just put chilies on the side. So that's why I like the Arusha coast, because the weather is quite cool, so you don't get that tired like when you are hit by the sun in Dar es Salaam.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Sure. Look, my favorite has to be it's the weirdest thing ever, because I actually didn't like living in that town at the time that I was living in that town, because we hardly had water or electricity, but because of work purposes I had to live there for, I think, 2015, 16. We left 17, so about 2 years. So it was 2 years of misery, but I mean, I had my family there, so it wasn't really that miserable, but it was miserable.
Where was that?
The golf course that is my favorite, literally, is the Bankenveld golf course. It is in Witbank. That's what I'm saying. It's I think it's the only beautiful thing about that town, the golf course itself. Because when you are on the course, and I mean, you will see the estate. You know, that's one of the things that makes golf courses pretty nice and lovely and admirable is the houses or the property and that type of stuff. So the Bankenveld golf estate is interesting in that it sits on just like above a lake. So there's a lake just right below it, and as you're golfing, you get a false sense of being somewhere else, extremely beautiful, islandy. And then, so my husband and I at the time, I mean, we used to get on the cart, and literally every day, Mama Rose, we would go and we'd go and play, and we would leave there so revived and excited about life, forgetting that we live in Witbank where there's no water, electricity, and where we're constantly breathing dirty coal, and it's one of those towns. But I love that cause for that, because it was such an escape for me. And my mind, when I see, even when I look back at the pictures, every time I see it, all I think is, oof, this was one of those times. This was lovely, but I know that the time was not lovely at all.
Yeah. No, sometimes in life, God gives you during difficult times, He gives you windows to breathe. So I call that a window to breathe. I call that a window to breathe. Yeah. In Tanzania, we used to do national service. When you finish your Form 6, which is equivalent to matric, before going to university, so you go to the army for 1 solid year. And you are trained in drills and so on. So you actually sneak out and hide somewhere. So when they find you sneak and hide under a tree or on top of the tree, climb the tree, and just have a little sleep, because you wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, but someone just, it's really like the army. You're trained to be a soldier, and you're trained that, so you have to wake up and run and go on forward and this and that. So they used to say you I'll say it in Swahili and then try and translate it. I won't get the original. It's like unapasua raha katikati ya shida. It says that you're having a breakthrough in the middle of difficulty. So that's what.
How do you say it again? Let me try. I can't be Asante Wa for nothing. How do you say it again?
Asante.
How do you say it again? No, the breakthrough in the middle of
unapasua raha katikati ya shida.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Literally, it means you are slicing relaxation in the middle of problems. You are slicing yourself, you are positioning yourself for relaxation while there's fire, there's turmoil, there's whatever. You are there like you're over the moon.
Yeah.
No, I think one of the things which we should also talk about is how we can connect to the continent with this African Free Trade Agreement, which is about to be launched on the 1st of July. And how can we be also looking into what is happening in the continent in terms of what are the themes, what is 2063 talking about, the Africa we want. So golf can be part of it, of linking us with different women groups, women in leadership group in the continent. Under the view of the free trade agreement, we could not only enjoy golf, but we could do business. We could train each other. For example, I could easily come up with Swahili lessons to all of you. And because it's now a language of an official language for the continent, and I speak it fluently, I write it fluently. My first degree is adult education, so we could actually put together the skills and come up with a short, like a second language or something, just to get you to know when you go to Eastern and Central Africa, because it's now spoken by more than 100 million people in the continent. And we are looking into commoditizing it for business purposes so people can benefit.
Yeah. We call it the English of our continent. Swahili. We call it the English of the continent. So I think that's a very good idea. But I mean, for me, as you know, like literally from the moment I left corporate South Africa, I unexpectedly and unintentionally, without even knowing, launched myself into the continent to, just strictly and completely operate on a continental level. And I think you'll agree with this, that once you operate on a continental level, then there's absolutely no other way but to also be a little bit more accommodating of the worldwide view. So that's been our thing. And as the strategist also at HD Africa, when you speak of the AFCFTA, which is the Africa Free Trade Agreement, I am more than convinced that there's no better time than now. Even though the pandemic looks like, or it doesn't look like, it's obviously has affected a lot of people, and it's continuing to affect a lot of people. But the reality of the matter is that many pandemics have affected this continent before, and for the first time, we're not as affected as everyone else. And even if that was not the case, the fact that we have the Africa Trade Agreement that that is due to be implemented, we have a responsibility on our shoulders as women and young people in this continent to drive innovation and to want to be involved in as many ways as possible in terms of enhancing, advancing, and developing and growing this beautiful continent of ours. So I do like that. And again, it goes back to the reason why golf is part of SAWIL. It's exactly for that golf connects people. Let me tell you, our president in South Africa, I'm not even shy to say this, Cyril Ramaphosa, he plays golf. He's an avid golfer, avid amateur golfer, or should I say social golfer, because amateur also is another level of golf. Now that same person is the chair of the, of AU, right? But if you look at his peers in that context, even way before he became president of South Africa, because he's been everywhere in the world, he's a multi-millionaire who's been everywhere, who's been conducting business globally. Golf opened a lot of doors for him, or golf played a magnificent role in him being in spaces that a typically grown African man, from somewhere rural in South Africa or somewhere rural in Kenya or somewhere rural wherever, would not ordinarily have access to certain people. But golf does give you that kind of access. So I think if there's an example for us to maybe not too far away from ourselves, if we need an example that's on a pedestal, there's a president, and he happens to also be the AU chair. So the opportunities are there, but it really is up to us. And I know that there are women who don't agree with this. There are women, and you know what's funny, Mama Rose, what I've experienced, the women who don't agree that golf does open doors are the actual women who have used golf to open doors. So I don't know, I can count them in one hand though, and trust me, there's not even more than 2 of them. But it's just one of those weird things that people will use a tool and it helps them to succeed, but then at the same time they tell other people that that tool does not work. So I don't know what your experience has been, but that has been my experience with other women who other people would look at and say, oh, what has golf done for you? And then we have women like Mama Rose who says, like, Cherio, look at me now. I mean, you came into a country that you didn't know anyone, and here you are, and very much connected now, because thank God, there's golf.
I can't wait to retire to play golf.
I can't.
Yes.
Listen, because I mean, you have to wait for me. There's such a massive gap, so you have to continue working until it's my turn to retire. Then we can retire, and then we can play.
There are different kinds of retirements. I remember Ntate Mandela. He retired from retirement. When he retired to be president, he continued working. So I'm going to follow Ntate's footstep. He retired from the government. Yeah, he retired from the government, and I will retire from the government when time comes, and I will continue working, and then I will retire from retirement.
I give up on you. And on that note, I think it's time for us to retire from this life.
Not from life, no. Even when we sleep, I usually wake up like 3 o'clock in the morning to strategize things and respond to or send several emails. So we can't retire from life now. There's so many things I haven't done.
No, I'm saying this life.
Oh, this life here now, yes.
This life, yes. No, not our lives. Our lives are too fabulous to retire from. You and me, we ain't retiring anytime soon.
Yeah, this was. I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you, and encourage women to actually join golf.
Yeah.
Encourage them to join golf. SAWIL is there. It has a package of capacity building from golf to career development, business and entrepreneurship. It has connections in the SADC, and now it's stepping foot in East Africa, using one of the members, the Tanzanian member, who is also a member of East Africa. And soon, because SADC, most of the SADC countries are members of COMESA, so we have the tripartite, SADC, East African Community, and COMESA. So, and those are so many countries inside there. We will, with the Africa Free Trade Agreement, we are looking into the continent for establishing value chains for women, from agriculture to technology, from arts and culture, from music, from art, from even cooking. From even cooking. We can share recipes, we can have food galas, and so on and so forth. So I don't think even the sky is the limit for SAWIL. So join the train, jump into the train before it leaves the station. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Long live golf for women. Hooray!
Thank you so much, Ma. And to our global golf community, you know, happy Global Women's Golf Day. I know that we would have all loved to be in our pink and red gear and hit the golf course tomorrow morning in South Africa. I don't know where you would be doing it from, but you know, we have to be understanding and accommodating of the current global situation, and as a result of the pandemic. And I just also want to take this moment to say that, you know, in terms of what's happening in America, we are fully aware as a global role player, as a global part of the global community. At SAWIL Golf, we truly stand behind the Black Lives Matter movement, and not just the SAWIL Golf, SAWIL in general, myself, Mama Rose, everybody basically. It's so, as the Women's Golf Day movement, I want to encourage, because I know this will be the trend tomorrow. I want to encourage our global community to just, you know, dig deep and try and understand and comprehend what it means to truly be human. So do not only engage when we're playing sport, when Tiger Woods is winning you know, golf tournaments globally, and then we embrace people of color, and they kind of like, you know, one of us, or they're just as equal or important as us, whereas under ordinary circumstances, then we don't see them as human. I think we're really, and as women particularly, we are birthers, we are creators, we are nurturers. So we need to be a little bit more accommodating and sympathetic and empathetic and understanding, and even more true to our nature, try and build rather than to encourage the current, you know, a global unfortunate situation that's happening with our Black brothers being killed unnecessarily, majorly, you know, stemming from America, but even here in South Africa, we're unfortunately experiencing some of those things. So Black lives matter. Yes, life, but Black lives do matter primarily, especially now. So be cognizant of that fact, and let's not play, oblivious and pretend that we don't know that it is happening. That is my closing statement. My name is Sipati Mukua, and I am the founder and CEO of SAWIL. Adios, amigo, like my son would say.
Asante sana.
Asante sana. Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much for your time. I love you so much. And we'll chat again soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Thank you to everyone for joining. I really appreciate you. And please follow the hashtag tomorrow. It is Women's Golf Day, a digital celebration on the 2nd of June. We're supposed to be the Africa host for 2020, but unfortunately, due to this pandemic, we will not be hosting. But yay! 1st of September, it's on. It's on. I'm excited. I don't know. Selfishly, so I'm very excited that we get to host it then. So holla back. Cheers.